Tori Lane had spent the last 6 months breathing new life into Sunshine Skate Rink. Every fluorescent bulb, every checkerboard tile, every chrome-trimmed booth in the snack bar had been scrubbed or replaced until the old rink gleamed the way it had when she first laced up rental skates at age 9. Tonight, grand reopening night, the place throbbed with the fizzy root beer aroma of anticipation and hairspray, and Tori felt 10 again, jittery with the promise of one more lap. The customers poured in. Families corralling toddlers in plastic Fisher-Price skates, middle schoolers daring each other to skate backward, grey-haired couples reliving disco tangos underneath the mirrored globe. The names she'd penciled on the staff rota blurred around her. Elise at the snack bar, Walt on maintenance, Ruby working sound for the DJ. Somewhere in that controlled chaos, Devin DJ Flash Frost pumped vintage beats from the booth on the mezzanine, while coloured lights pinwheeled across the maple floor. At 8:45, Tori slipped behind the concessions counter to refill the mustard canister. Elise, ponytail bobbing, handed her a pretzel and whispered, "You did it. Full house." "Not done yet," Tori replied, wiping cheese sauce off her knuckles. "When we hit 9 o'clock, Flash lowers the disco ball, shines the new LEDs, and we all skate the ribbon-cutting parade. Then I'll breathe." She never got the chance. 9 o'clock came, and the house lights dimmed. Couples joined hands, phones lifted in camera mode, rainbow strobes paused in a single spotlight on the ceiling. The DJ's voice slicked across the rink speakers. "Sunshine skaters, are you ready to roll into the future?" A roar answered him. "Then let's light up the night." A motor whirred. The mirrored ball shuddered, began its descent. Halfway down, the music choked, warbling into an unnatural slowdown, and the ball lurched. Somewhere above, metal pinged. Then, bang! A cable snapped. The globe plummeted, crashed through the spotlight bracket, and sparks sprayed like July 4th. The rink plunged into darkness. Someone screamed. Wheels screeched against wood as skaters scrambled for railings. Emergency lights blinked to life. Tori skated to center floor, heart pounding. The disco ball lay cracked near the DJ platform. Beneath its glittering shards, Devin Frost sprawled on his back, cocooned neck to ankle in a spiderweb of brown magnetic tape. A cassette shell, guts emptied, dangled from his wrist like a plastic manacle. Ruby knelt at his side, sobbing, her headset crooked. "He's breathing," she told Tori, voice wobbly. "But he won't wake up." Tori inhaled the musk of overheated electronics and adrenaline. Her perfect night lay scattered in a heap of mirror tiles and ribboned oxide. "Call 911, she said. "Then clear the rink." The paramedics hauled Devin out on a stretcher 15 minutes later, conscious but disoriented. Police officers cordoned off the booth and roped off the fallen globe. The grand reopening disintegrated into an evacuation, patrons ushered out under apologetic coupons for free future sessions. By 10:30, the rink sat hollow, echoing with dripping condensation from the ice machine and faint siren residue. Officer Mendez finished taking preliminary statements and told Tori the obvious. "Looks like sabotage. Cable's been filed nearly through. We'll be back in the morning with forensics." But the rink was Tori's kingdom. She refused to hand over every answer to city cops who couldn't tell a toe stop from a jam plug. She locked the doors behind the last cruiser, pulled her skates tight again, and started to roll the perimeter, searching for what the chaos had hidden. The cassette ribbon that had wrapped Devin lay in a tangled pile where the EMTs had cut him free. Tori crouched, careful not to flick shards of mirror with her wheels, and lifted the limp brown strand. One end had been sliced clean, not torn. She followed the tape's path with her eyes. The other end climbed the steps to the DJ booth, draped over the rail, and disappeared inside. She climbed after it. The booth smelled of dust, vinyl, and burnt circuitry. Devin's dual-deck console sat lopsided, one cassette tray open, the right spindle spinning aimlessly until she clicked the power off. A second cassette lay smashed on the floor, magnetic tape spilling like guts. On the console, a notepad bore one sentence in thick marker. "Play at 9 p.m., trust me." She pocketed the note and scanned the booth window. A catwalk ran along the back wall above the rink where lights and speakers were mounted. Access was through a utilitarian grey door, labelled Staff Only. Mendez's officers had placed yellow tape across it, but they'd left. Tori ducked underneath. The catwalk vibrated faintly with the refrigeration units for the ice cream freezer below. Bolts and brackets littered the metal grate. Above the fallen disco ball, the primary cable dangled, severed end gleaming silver. Tori crouched, running a fingertip along the cut. Smooth, deliberate. Somebody had used a hacksaw or metal file. A second cable, intact, had been looped not to a ceiling beam, but to a flimsy T-bar that gave way when the first cable snapped, a lazy assurance that the ball would drop instead of sway harmlessly. Someone had wanted spectacle. From the catwalk, Tori could see skate tracks, fine dust scraped by wheels rather than shoes. Maintenance man Walt occasionally took the overhead route on his quads, but only when house lights were up. The catwalk rails were knee-high at best, a wrong tilt away from a 30-foot plunge. Few dared it, except maybe a show-off with a GoPro. Jax Jordan materialized in her thoughts. Local influencer, 100K followers for Trickskate videos, booked tonight to film the disco choreography. He'd spent the afternoon zipping through the renovation zones despite repeated scoldings, and his trademark rose gold wheels contained metallic flecks that left subtle sparkles in their wake. Tori brushed the mesh flooring. Tiny glittery specks clung to her palm. She texted Elise to ask if Jax was still around. The reply came. He left right after the ambulance, seemed shaken. Tori skated downstairs. The snack bar lights glowed fluorescent, casting shadows over mop buckets standing sentinel like musketeers. Elise sat on the counter, scrolling her phone. "They're ripping us apart online," she groaned. "Rink of doom. Cassette carnage." "Let them talk," Tori said. "Rumors keep people curious. Have you seen Ruby?" "She's in the sound closet packing Devin's equipment." Tori rolled down the hallway toward the audio storage. The door stood ajar, muffled sobs seeped through. She knocked and entered. Ruby knelt by a rack of amplifiers, hugging a milk crate of cables. Mascara streaked down her cheeks in jagged lightning bolts. "I told them not to use cassette," she blurted when she saw Tori. "Vinyl's hip, lossless, but Devin said authenticity. Analog or bust. Guess it almost busted him." "But you're his engineer. You checked the rig." "I did, 2 hours before showtime. The ball was solid, the console worked." Ruby hugged herself. "That tape? I've never seen it." Tori showed the notepad message. "Play at 9 p.m., trust me." Ruby sniffed. "That's Devin's handwriting." "Any idea what was on the cassette?" "No. He had this big surprise segment, wouldn't tell me." Tori thanked her and left, wheels clicking over tile. Devin's surprise, the sabotage, the glitter on the catwalk, the dramatic plunge, threads in a sloppy web. She needed perspective. She headed for the employee lounge. Walt, the maintenance chief, sat with his feet on a folding chair, oil-stained overalls speckled with glitter. He rubbed a crescent wrench like a worry stone. "Rough night," he muttered. "Walt, you were on ladder duty this morning. The disco cables, how were they?" "Solid. Brand new steel. I torqued 'em myself. 5/8 diameter, rated for a sedan, let alone a 20-pound ball." He spat into a rag. "Someone tampered after lunch." "Could it be Brad Klein?" Tori asked. Brad owned Galaxy Wheels, the rival Rink across town, and had shown up tonight wearing faux encouragement like cologne. Walt shrugged. "I saw Brad nosing around the breaker panels earlier, but the catwalk's another deal. Takes a key card to access that staff stair. Only you, me, and Ruby have one." Tori fingered the lanyard at her belt. A locked stairwell wouldn't stop a thrill-seeker scaling from a maintenance closet, but keys mattered. "Did you loan yours to anyone?" "Not since old Mrs. Camden dropped by Monday to inspect the renovation. I unlocked for her." Mrs. Camden, original owner, 82, arthritic but still steel-spined. She'd sold the Rink to Tori last year for a symbolic $1, plus a promise to keep the Sunshine legacy alive. Could the octogenarian have filed a steel cable? Unlikely. Yet Walt's offhand memory nagged. Tori thanked him, grabbed her coat, and slipped out the back loading dock into the cool night. The city smelled of wet asphalt and fryer grease. Sunshine's lot was dark, except for a lone sedan idling beneath the broken S of the neon sign. Brad Klein leaned against the driver's door, moonlight glinting off his designer leather jacket. "You fingerprinting, Lane?" he called, smug tinge in his baritone. "What do you want, Brad? Autographs from disaster victims?" He chuckled. "Just curious how you'll spin this. If word gets out someone almost died in your new wonderland, insurance'll close you by Monday." "Not if I find out who turned the place into a trap." Brad's grin thinned. "Maybe ask your DJ. Did you know Frost tried to blackmail me? Said he had a recording proving I bribed zoning to block your parking lot expansion. He offered to leak it tonight during his set unless I paid. I refused. Now he's in a hospital gown. Funny coincidence." Tori's stomach knotted. "He threatened you with a cassette?" "Something analog so it couldn't be hacked," he said. "If that was the tape wrapped around him, Karma's got style." Brad flicked a mock salute and slipped into his car. Blackmail, sabotage, spectacle. Someone had gone to the catwalk to drop the ball, literally, and used Devin's own weapon against him. But who besides Brad had motive? Brad could hire a discreet vandal, yet his alibi was shaky. Tori returned inside. Midnight ticked past. She powered the Rink lights to half and glided to the center. Mirror shards reflected her in fractured disco ghosts. She closed her eyes, letting wheels hum under her until thoughts aligned. Step back. Devin planned to reveal Brad's wrongdoing via cassette at 9 sharp, hence the note. Whoever sabotaged the globe wanted to silence him, but also create a viral moment. They needed access to catwalk and technical know-how to fuss with tape decks. Brad fit half, Ruby fit the other. But Ruby had been in the booth until the crash. Eyewitnesses placed her there preparing the lighting cue. Could she have sabotaged earlier? Possible. Tori glided to the booth again. On a whim, she opened the cabinet under the console. Inside sat Ruby's glitter-specked backpack. She unzipped it. A mini hacksaw, a coil of lamp wire, and tucked in the front pocket, a pair of rose-gold skate wheels. Tori exhaled. Not just any wheels, Jax Jordan's brand signature. Footsteps echoed on the mezzanine stairs. Ruby emerged, eyes swelling red. "Tori, what are you doing?" "Looking for answers." Tori held up the backpack. You took Jax's wheels to leave false glitter trails. You had time while he filmed promo shots. You filed the cable and rigged the second line to a weak point. You looped Devon's cassette through the lighting rig, so when the ball fell, it'd mummify him. Why? Ruby leaned against the railing, tears drying into marble. It wasn't supposed to hit him, just scare him, make him drop the stunt. Devon thought blackmail was edgy promotion. Take down Galaxy Wheels on opening night, watch the internet explode. But it would take us down too. Sunshine doesn't need scandal. It needs nostalgia, joy. I begged him to delete the tape. He laughed. So you went bigger. I wanted a viral moment without the blackmail. A ball drop, sparks, something spectacular people would share but harmless. I checked the math. The secondary line should have stopped the globe 3 feet above the booth. I must have misclamped it. Tori pictured the flimsy T-bar ripped from the ceiling. You used lamp wire as secondary, didn't you? That wasn't rated for the load. Ruby swallowed. I didn't think. And Devon got tangled in his own cassette, symbolism and all. She sank to the floor, hugging her knees. I ruined everything. Tori felt a surprising wash of pity. Ruby was 23, brilliant with sound, foolish with pride. She hadn't planned murder, but reckless endangerment was enough to bury Sunshine under lawsuits. Sirens wailed in the distance, Officer Mendez returning for overnight security. Tori sat beside Ruby on the scuffed linoleum. "We'll tell the police," Tori said softly. "You'll have to own it. But we'll also tell them Devon intended extortion, and Brad had motive. Context matters. They'll arrest me. Probably. But Devon's alive. That helps. With luck, the DA sees negligence, not intent." Tori placed a hand on Ruby's shoulder. "In the meantime, I'll keep Sunshine afloat." Ruby nodded, tears salty on her lips. "I'm sorry, Tori." "I know." When Mendez arrived, Tori turned over the backpack and the confession. Ruby walked to the squad car without resistance, a tiny figure under carnival lights flashing red and blue through the glass doors. As they drove away, dawn seeped violet into the horizon. The following afternoon, Tori stood in the rink amid construction tape and work lights. Walt supervised new cable installation. Elise brewed coffee for volunteers sweeping glitter. Jax returned, appropriately chastened, to sand rough planks. Even Mrs. Camden stopped by, leaning on her cane, offering a silent nod of approval. News vans loitered in the lot. The headlines, strangely, favoured Sunshine. Disco ball saves Rink from blackmail scheme. Brad's zoning scandal leaked after Devon, groggy but furious, turned the original recording over to police rather than risk further fallout. His hospital interview painted himself as repentant opportunist and praised Tori's quick action. Public sentiment shifted from morbid curiosity to community solidarity. A week later, Sunshine reopened, again. Tori skated to center floor, microphone in hand. The repaired disco ball hovered confidently above. "Sunshine has always been about redemption on 8 wheels, she announced. "Fall down, get up, keep rolling. Tonight, we roll forward." The lights dimmed. Music rose, vinyl this time. Mirrors sprinkled confetti constellations over the crowd. Tori led the parade, wheels whispering promises across polished maple. The past week's scars glimmered above, sealed in new steel cables stronger than before, a reminder that even shattered disco balls can be pieced together to shine. And as the first chorus hit, Sunshine's skate rink spun into the night, alive once more.